Time to review the last classical game from Norway Chess for our Offerspill guys. Arian had a rough going in Norway Chess, but managed to play a very nice game in the last classical game against Fabiano Caruana with the black pieces. And as we'll see, he managed to get a draw from this game. So we'll take a look at how Arian did with the black pieces here. He played a Roy Lopez with the black pieces, and now knight f6, castles, bishop e7, all standard so far, as I'm sure you guys know. Castles, a4, and now b4, not allowing, of course, takes, and then rook takes a8. a5 from Caruana, getting the square for the bishop back, and also trying to weaken this pawn on a6 at some point later in the game. d6, c3. These moves are of course played before and all natural, but still requires some knowledge. And now Arian breaks in the center with d5, which is a very nice move and really to my taste as well. He goes for active play here. Knight d5, h3 played by Caruana because he wants to stop bishop g4. h6 from Arian. Still allowing this knight e5 move, so this is sort of a pawn sacrifice from Arian in the style of the Marshall Gambit, with perhaps c6 here, which is a move. Lots of opportunities here, of course, as we can see. The computer suggesting rook e1 even as a possible move. Which is quite telling of Black's initiative here. So Black sacrifices a full pawn, but has the easier development and play. And as we can see, these guys are really not contributing to anything yet. So Black's sacrifice is within logical, and is of course it's logical, and it's well reasoned as well. So thematic from the Marshall Gambit, as Arian has played before in the Norway Chess Tournament against Levon Aronian. That's the video, of course, you can check out on our channel after reviewing this, of course. So d4 from Caruana, takes, knight takes, bishop e6, and now he decides to grab the pawn on e5. But now he can't really take on e5 with the rook, because this would win a full piece for Black. So he needs to take on d5 first. Bishop b3, queen g4, bishop e6. This looks like the start of a repetition, right guys? But now Caruana plays rook e6, sacrificing an exchange. And in return he gets 2 pawns. Yeah, sort of an initiative which Arian handles very nicely here. Bishop e3, rook b2, queen e6. Bishop g5 played by Arian, trying of course to reduce White's initiative, and a very good mechanism to do that is to exchange pieces. Takes, knight e4, queen f5, d5. We take this pawn. We exchange queens, and then we attempt to take this pawn. How to do that? So rook e7 might well end up in a very passive position here. The rook is not super active, and the pawn is not really necessary to block it yet, because we have the king nearby, so we can play rook f5 as Arian did. Very nicely done. Of course, this e7, if that's ever played, then king f7 is not far away. Rook d1 from Fabi, rook b8, of course, covering this square, h4. Making ready for knight to go to g5. Take on a5, rook d7, c6, f4, rook d5. Arian of course wants to exchange rooks in this kind of position, and the a6 pawn would go to a5 and later to a1 and promote and win them the game. So the knight is not really a fantastic piece any longer, because there's no initiative, and Black's rook is of course the much superior piece in such an endgame. So rook a7 played, rook d4, f5, take on h4. Sorry, could have played g3, of course. After something like rook d2, rook a6, suddenly there's rook b8, and you have to go back to a1 with the rook, and there's very little chances of white winning this endgame c5, and it's probably black that's hopeful of achieving anything. So f5, take on h4, of course, not the rook g4 as I mouse slipped earlier. Rook a6. And now a very nice trick from Caruana, knight e4. And this is a fork, but that's also a fork Arian can afford because he's an exchange up, and whenever you're material up, you can always afford to sacrifice some back. So we do not play the pawn yet. We go around to f6 with the king first. We leave our pawn on g7. That's important actually, and we get to round up this pawn on e6 before considering any action with the pawn. So we can see in this endgame, black is well within drawing range here, as we just put our king in the corner, and there's no way to force us out of this corner and to lose our pawn. And now after g6, it's a stalemate and a very nice draw for Arian against world number 2 Fabi Caruana.